KMC here. Welcome back to the KMC Chat Show. I am so excited today to bring to you one of my dear new friends, I'm going to call him. He is an incredible writer, performer, director. I'm going to even say singer. His name is Ben Zook. I totally adore his humor and his style, let's say. He's kept me laughing through the pandemic with his shows on YouTube, and love his husband, Joe Deedle, who also was one of my guests on KMC Chat previously. So I really hope you guys get a chance to just sit back, relax, and listen to my conversation with the great Ben Zook. There's my friend Ben Zook, everybody.
Hello,
welcome.
How are you?
Ben, what a delight. I mean, I'm telling you, I have, well, I've been here in the desert. We're almost here 9 years now, and I don't remember the first time I met you. But you were always around. You were always doing everything. And then, all these things, I'm like, oh, that's him. He did all those things. So, I think I first started knowing who you were with Where the Bears Are. When did that start?
We started Where the Bears Are in 2012. And it was, my husband, Joe Deedle, and my friend, Rick Kopp, and I. And we were in a hot tub in Palm Springs over Thanksgiving. And we lived in Los Angeles for 26 years. And we were living in LA at the time. And we were tired of pitching projects. We'd worked in the industry for all of us for years. And we were tired of pitching projects that studios would say no to because they're too gay. Because now everything's really gay. Like it's, if we moved it up to now, we probably would be able to.
You were before your time. You were before your time.
Yeah, but back in 2012 even, they just weren't buying a lot of gay stuff, especially dirty gay stuff, like edgy. Like, our show is very sexual. And we just said, you know what, let's do it ourselves. So we took our own money and we invested in cameras and equipment. And we said, and then we were going to cast other people, and then I'm such a narcissist. I was like, what? I want to play the part. Are you kidding? I don't want to let these other people do these fun parts. So I said, let's be in it as well. And Joe, you direct. And Rick had written for the Golden Girls, and our show is basically the Golden Girls meets Murder, She Wrote with big hairy gay men. And so we launched into it, and it became a really successful web show. And we did 7 seasons, 7 years. Which turned out to be full-length features, because we did webisodes that cut into movies.
Yeah, and then
it's like doing 7 movies.
And then you packaged it as a whole thing, right? Am I right?
We would release them on YouTube as webisodes, which I think was kind of a clever idea on our part because it built interest in the show.
Right.
But then everybody could buy the DVD or download afterwards because it cut together into one continuous story, a movie. And then we did, 7 movies and 8 holiday specials. So it was very successful, and we didn't think it would be. Like, we didn't expect, you know what I mean? We just did it for fun.
Well, and like back then too, I mean, this was all new when people were doing these little web things.
Right. It was sort of new territory. Yeah.
So I know my husband and I, we watched a couple, and then you stop for a while and you pick it up later on, and then years later, all of a sudden, like, we're in Palm Springs, and this is where these guys are doing things, and our friends are in some of these episodes. We noticed too. So I'm like, oh,
yes, all of season 7 was shot in Palm Springs. The whole story took place with us coming out to Palm Springs for a Mr. Bear America contest, and it all revolved around the contest. Wow. And so a lot of Palm Springs people we cast, and then in season 5 we came out to Palm Springs for part of the story. And there's some Palm Springs people in that season as well.
So when you started that was the first one? Is that where you first started?
You mean
for yourself, when you started doing your own self? You were producing the shows yourself. That was that.
Yes. We had done. Yeah, I had done a lot of stuff. Like I wrote the Adam Sandler movie Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
I, as an actor, I was in tons, like 10 pilots that didn't go to series. I wrote lots of feature projects, got paid to write them, but they never got made. So a whole career in Los Angeles where I was able to earn money and sort of make my way, but I never had that pilot that went to series. I never had that, that movie that really, Jack and Jill got made, but I won a Razzie Award for worst screenplay with Adam Sandler. But even, you know what? I got the movie made and I got paid, so I was happy.
I'd take that. I would take that. So
Yeah, but this was the first thing and probably the most gratifying thing
yeah.
because we did do it ourselves and it was really fun and
Well,
it did well. So
it's clever. I thought it was a little tongue in cheek. I was like,
it's
these are
campy,
these
yeah.
guys just having some fun. Now, I don't
Yeah.
remember getting too graphic. You guys didn't do graphic nudity and stuff, did you?
No, we never showed frontal nudity and we
Yeah.
never showed penetration or sex acts, but we had simulated
Yeah.
sex acts that
Oh,
were very comedic. Like
yeah.
somebody would be getting plowed and they'd be talking, or it was very
That happens. Everyone.
yeah, it was very comedic sex.
The
If that's a thing.
well, because you didn't have any of that, I dropped off after episode 1. But it was
Right, I know.
it
We
was
lost some people.
but I came back and you guys were still doing it. That was great. So that's it's interesting. I mean, so you built your background with everything that you had done, and then I like the fact that you then said, "Hey, I'm going to do this myself and
Yeah.
put it out there and see what happens." And so now, is that series completely over?
It's all done. We stopped in season 7 was 2018,
Yeah,
and at the end of that season, we wrap everything up in a nice bow. It was very touching. Our characters go there. Spoiler alert! They go their separate ways. We say goodbye. Kind of sad, but nice. And then so it's been 3 years since the series was over, and then everybody always is sort of we get a lot of requests online. Please come back. Please do it again. And so it's always in the back of our mind someday coming back, but we don't know when.
Well, hey, cheers to you on this. I'd like to
Thank
raise
you.
on that because I
Coffee.
think I'm so glad to see that people have good sense of humor and quite honestly, I mean, Ben, you better than anybody else. My exposure to just hysterical stuff. I mean, really, I love your humor. I love
Thank
and
you.
and the way Joe also participates and the two of you together. I mean, that your series, that darn Corona. Oh my God.
Yes, and now this came about during the pandemic because we were, everybody was going crazy, and I don't know that I'm sure you went through this, but during the lockdown, I was very depressed. I was eating too much. I was drinking too much. I gained 50 pounds during the lockdown, and I was just very unhappy. But I kept doing my channel because that kept me sane and happy. And also I have Patreon fans, who actually support me that I, create
Right.
material for. So I had to keep going and had to keep trying to be funny during the pandemic. And so I just really dove into the dark comedy of, all right, we've got this coronavirus thing. Why don't I do a sitcom spoof, with a laugh track about coronavirus? And when I first did it, I thought, I don't know if this is going to be too in poor taste or not, but it made me giggle because I love laugh tracks. Just hearing a laugh track makes me giggle. And then when we really embrace sort of the awful things about the lockdown and put a laugh track with it, it was hilarious. It just makes me laugh.
It made it so comfortable to feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It totally. And the laugh track, from the first episode, I'm like, oh my God, this is genius. Who would think? Because you're saying something very uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
All of a
Like
sudden,
in the very first episode, he comes in from grocery shopping, and I get Lysol and start spraying him, like, oh my God, you've been outside at the grocery store, and then the laughs start coming in, and I think everybody was like, yes, this is how I'm feeling. I love that we're laughing at this, because if you don't laugh, you just gotta be sad.
Yeah, it becomes very sad. I really appreciated the humor of it during the time. So did you write, is it scripted or was this all improv?
Yeah, that darn Corona was heavily scripted very precisely. And it was actually very difficult to shoot because, Joe and I had to shoot it ourselves with no cameraman.
Yeah.
So in our house. So we would lock off the camera and we wore body mics because the sound is better that way.
Yeah.
And we would, do coverage on each of us, the single, the two shot, whatever. But the thing is, after every line, we didn't have the laugh track in, you can't, that's all put in post-production.
Oh, of course.
So we had to have to say the line and then just do this thing where we'd go, oh, you went to the grocery store, and then go,
yeah.
and then just pause and make these faces
Yeah.
for like, 30 seconds each
Yeah.
after every line.
I-
And that got to be really difficult because when you cut it together, it's really funny, but when you're performing it, it's really
Oh,
weird.
It had to take a long time to do that, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I mean,
After every single line, you're going,
yeah.
oh my God, okay. Yeah.
So you did not have a cameraman on.
No, it was just our camera. We had cameras equipment that we used in Where the
Yeah.
Bears Are, these AF-100s, which are now pretty old cameras, but they look good. But yeah, we just lock them off on a tripod, and then we do the H4n sound, body mics, and then sync it up and edit it.
So that was your brainchild, and did you just say, "Honey, you're going to be a part of this," or
Yeah, poor Joe.
does he know? Does he just know he's along?
Well, yeah, he especially during the lockdown, he's like, okay, I guess I'm going to be your fellow actor for the next year because I couldn't work with other people. So I was always dragging him into my little skits, my little playlets, and the Corona thing. He liked doing, but it's funny. He doesn't like memorizing lines. So he would always kind of look at me like, oh no, we got to do one of those this week. All right. Because he doesn't, memorizing lines is like, all right, whatever.
I thought people, I'm not telling you right now. Now, where can we find those in that series? Is that on a channel?
Those are the That Darn Corona and all of my other comedic videos are on my YouTube channel, which is Ben Zook YouTube channel.
That's it.
You just type in, Ben Zook YouTube channel, or go to YouTube, Ben Zook, you'll see me. And I have a lot of different things like that. Like there's That Darn Corona, and there's what was the other one I did? We did a brief one about our baby being possessed by Satan, with a laugh track.
What's the underwear party about? Do you still do
the
that?
Ben's underwear party? That was sort of my shameless attempt at getting viewers, because everybody likes to see guys in bears in their underwear.
Yeah.
So it's me interviewing hot, interesting bears in their underwear, and then also I would play games with them. But the games portion, you would have to subscribe to my Patreon channel to see the game. You still can, by the way.
Yeah.
Ben Zook Patreon. Go to Patreon, Ben Zook. Or actually, excuse me, it's Ben Zook Premium at patreon.com. That you can see all of my extra material. Now that's for things that are a little more edgy, raunchy, that I couldn't put on YouTube. Now, once again, I never get graphic, I never show nudity, but I do have some stuff on my Patreon channel that's much more raunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, comedy.
YouTube's pretty strict now.
Oh, yeah.
I have to be careful with YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why on here I can't have all that nudity, that I want. We're going to come back to what you currently are working on, the Dirty Show, which I got to enjoy. But I'd like to know, growing up and stuff, who were you looking up to, and when did you feel, hey, this is something I want to do? Comedy or writing, or how did that happen?
Well, what's so funny is, I know we're going to talk about it later. I'm doing the stage show, and actually an old friend of mine from grade school surprised me and flew from Seattle. Her and her husband, this straight woman and her husband, flew to see my show. And after the show, she looked at me and she said, "Oh my gosh, it's the same band. It's just a different album." And what she meant by that is even in grade school, she's like, "Ben, you're basically doing all this shit that you used to do as a little kid on the playground and in junior high that I remember, but now you put it in a show and you're in your 50s. Like, it is funny." So I think it's just sort of the way I've always been. I'm a little ham, I'm a little performer. I got it from my mother. Well, both my parents were performers. My mom especially was very out there, hamming it up and stuff. And so I think I think it was a gene.
Well, that's I mean, but
the raunchy comedy gene.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But we will come back to that, because I will tell you why some of it's wrong. Because some people, you'll see. So when you were growing up and learning these skills and doing all, did you have any idols or people you really looked up to?
Oh yeah, I think when I was little, or when I was growing up, I think I definitely was influenced by, trying to think. Well, no, actually, more in college, I was very influenced by John Waters. I would say he's my biggest influence. I think Woody Allen, even though he's canceled. But I was definitely influenced by him. Who else? What I loved growing up were those movies in the '70s, like Foul Play, Colin Higgins, Silver Streak.
Yeah.
Recently, I watched The Bad News Bears, and I realized that movie had a big effect on me. I think it was those, yeah, Michael Ritchie, his movies, Smile from the '70s. I was sort of influenced by those kind of what's the right word for those? Social commentary comedies,
I mean, they
like
were
that.
a product of their time. They were very much specific on that stuff. And I thought the ones you mentioned, those are all great. They're funny. So you're Midwestern, right? I think you and I are.
Yeah, I grew up in Kansas, Topeka.
Okay, so you're the Midwestern. Now, I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
My
I spent a lot of time. That's what my formative years were.
Yeah,
Actually.
so I saw that you were part of the was it Annoyance Theater?
Yeah, the Annoyance Theater in 1987 to 91.
When I read that, I was just like, oh my God, he was there that whole time. We didn't take advantage of finding out this and
We
that.
probably ran into each other at Roscoe's.
No, there's very good chance that we did. Now you did Peter Brady?
Yeah, I was Peter Brady in a production of the Real Life Brady Bunch. It's where we got up on stage and we did Brady Bunch episodes verbatim. We did them exactly the way they were on TV, but we had bad wigs, we're people in our 20s. And it was so funny because those scripts now, look now, this was the 90s, but they were just so corny. And then, we would overplay every moment, really mugging, hamming it up. But yeah, Jane Lynch was the mom. Andy Richter was the dad. It was a really fun cast. Steve Carell was the original Greg. Yeah.
God, when did that? Where did that start? Where did you guys?
That started the Annoyance in '89, or no, June of 1990. It started.
Was that Chicago?
Chicago, yes.
Oh, got it.
We did it as a joke. We said let's just do it as a part. It was the Soloway sisters, Joey and Faith Soloway from Transparent. They produced that show. This was their first big thing in Chicago, sort of. Well, Faith had done some other stuff, but we did it on a Tuesday night as a joke, as sort of a party. And 1 week later, there was a line around the block, and within a couple weeks, Newsweek and Time Magazine were there. Like it was this crazy thing that just blew up, and nobody expected it, and it was really fun. And then we got to take the show to New York, and then we took it to the Westwood Playhouse in Los Angeles, and then there was a tour of it. We went to San Francisco with it.
Did everybody stay in it? I mean, did most
everybody stayed with it pretty much through the LA run, and then Andy Richter got on Conan O'Brien after that. And then I think Jane left the show after LA and stayed in Los Angeles and pursued her career. And then we went on to San Francisco and some other places.
Fun history for you. That's just amazing. I didn't realize all of that. And then when I was doing some of my research, I was like, oh my God, he was right, in Chicago. And then part of that show, which I remember it taking over. Everybody was like, gotta go see that Brady Bunch.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Was it always one episode, or did you do a couple?
We would do one episode, but we would also paired it with the show called The Real Life Game Show. So the first part of the evening was a game show with the audience, and the second part of the evening was the Brady's. So it was sort of a full evening that way, because the Brady episodes are only a half hour or 22 minutes.
Yeah, right.
However, what's so funny is we would milk and mug so much that we would drag it out. So I bet it was like 40 minutes. 40 minutes, and people were laughing so much, and we had the laugh track too, like we go crank the laugh track.
I love
that.
So
it was a long evening, but
love it. So now you are in the show, the Dirty Show, it's called, and I have witnessed it. I have been involved right there in it. Can't miss it. Once you're there, you can't really escape him. It is amazing, and I mean this sincerely, because I've been on stage, I do theater, and I work with I perform cabaret. You're working with an audience, and you get you do in that show, in the Dirty Show. Tell me again, what's the character name on the show?
The character's name is Skylar Gentry.
Did he appear anywhere else in your career?
You know what? I started him on my YouTube channel doing some videos. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see a few Skylar Gentrys, I think, where I'm just sort of sitting in by my pool, commenting on things. I think in one of them, I interviewed my husband, Joe. He's a character that I've sort of been doing for years, but I never quite found the right context for him until I found this stage show.
It's different than the gay sweater guy?
You know what's so funny is they're basically the same character. It's just they're slightly different because I have so many gay characters that are all kind of the same character. So I think Skylar basically is this conglomeration of every gay character I've been doing my entire life. Sort of the effeminate, out there, sort of in your face, flamboyant, fun, hyper gay guy. Yeah. He's he's America's, the whole thing is he's America's favorite actor, singer, dancer, psychic. That's how I sort of packaged him eventually. And I think the key to it is the psychic thing. You know, it makes it different.
You were doing the psychic thing during the Pride Parade, telling people as you're going by. I like, he is not missing a beat on this promo. Was this character the one you did on Reno 911, or is it?
Once again, they're all kind of the same person. Okay. I'll rename them for different things, but it's like they're really the same person.
Do you find
ultimately, I feel like they're me.
That's what I was just gonna say.
They're Ben, the Ben who's too afraid to cut loose and be that way.
Yeah.
Because of just the way I was socialized and the way you're raised as a gay kid in the Midwest by a father who wants you to play sports.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sort of that alter ego that I can let out.
So the thing I loved about the show is, one, I really felt a kinship, like I want to do what he's doing. You know, he's getting to cut loose. He gets to be as dirty. And, you know, I'm always one toe over the line or one whole foot over the line, anywhere I go and what I do. And, you know, and I'm thinking, this guy's got people paying him to see this. Right. And in the venue is kind of like, you're kind of stuck out there unless you want to be looked at as people are going to the bathroom because they have to travel or whatever. And I was warned before I went to this, I said, is it a lot of audience participation? And they kind of looked at me and was like, mm-hmm.
Well, you know what's so funny, Keith, is I don't like audience participation shows. Like I'm petrified, like, oh, please don't pick me. I don't want, you know. So it's really funny to me that I did this because I didn't expect it to morph into this. But as I was creating it, I realized, oh, that's what this is. This is a guy who will go out into the audience and make people uncomfortable. However, I feel like I hope that I'm doing a good job of not making people too scared, because I really I'm trying to make sure people don't not come because of that, you know.
Well, so my initial reaction was, oh my God, don't make eye contact. I'm always the guy they pick, and anything you do something like that,
right?
They just zero in but I've always said this, you have to go up and get into it. And the thing I found with your show when I saw it, you know, you pick up there are people who come up on stage with you and you do your bits and it works. It's always better, I think, for the audience that the person up there is a bit uncomfortable, because they, you know, and that's so when they start coming back at you with their shtick, they're actors, or they're like, I'll show this guy, I'm not gonna be the foil here. I think that's tough. You know,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've had a few experiences where I'm like, oh, okay, this person's going to work at stealing the focus.
Right.
So I got to let them do it, but then I have to keep focus on me as well. Like,
and I watched your genius, and I mean this because even my husband is like, oh, this one's going to start pressing, but you handled it well. And like I said, overall, when it was all done, I loved it. I tell you one thing I did not realize, your voice is amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. That's the thing I'm most insecure about too. I mean, I was a trained singer all my life, but I never felt, you know what it is? I never felt like I was a great singer. I've always felt like I'm an okay singer, you know what I mean? And so I've always been a little self-conscious about that, but I definitely sang a lot as a child. I also, in college, I majored in singing. I didn't have an operatic voice. I had like an okay voice. So I've always been a little insecure with it. But with this show, I'm having fun because I'm using my voice and I'm having fun doing it. And I feel like, okay, you know what? I'm singing the songs as well as I need to. That's how I look at myself. Now, other people are very complimentary. I just, you know, I feel like I don't have a Broadway voice. I don't have a voice that people would pay hundreds of dollars to hear in a theater, but I have a good enough voice that I feel like it's fun.
You pulled it off. To me, it wasn't just like, oh, here's a funny guy gonna do. First of all, who writes all that stuff? Amazing.
I wrote all the songs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There are some, and people, you must go see this. You have to see it and experience it. Did you record it? I mean, I know you were recording.
We did do a good recording of it. Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I think we're going to do another one in February at IBC.
Oh, ooh. Good.
Yeah, I just got booked to do the show at IBC on Sunday, February. I should know this, the 27th, I believe. Let me get this date right, because people are watching. From
people are going to want to know where to go.
I'm going to, let me make sure it's, yes, Sunday, February 27th at 8 p.m. at the Hotel Zozo in that upper room.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a big show there for IBC, and I think it's going to be really fun because that's a big room. And I think we're going to hopefully maybe film it as well. And I'm really excited about that show.
You know, you talked at the beginning of the show when we saw it, you're like, oh, you're in for like an hour of this and that. And I was like, it was like an hour and 20 before, because I know you were recording that night and things were just, and I was like, every bit really was working and it was fun. And I get so uncomfortable seeing people uncomfortable. So I was ducking and weaving, and then my friend Jeffrey Norman got picked on. He was just sitting too.
And then I accused him. Well, I don't want to spoil it. People have to come see the show.
No. But I'm just saying. But you know, and he said to me before we even started, he goes, you know, we're that person that they look at. I said, I know. I said, I really try not to look at anybody. But I really ended up having such a great night, not knowing what to expect. But I had seen, like I said, some of your work, and I do find it very, very humorous, and I really do respect that type of performing, because that's tough. If your audience sucks, you're stuck.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Like, all the audiences have been wonderful, and I've had different amounts of nerves each show. And actually the last show I did I feel like I was at my most comfortable. I wasn't nervous at all. The one you came to, I still had some nerves, and I don't know. It's just the way performers are, you know. You know, it depends on who's out there and who you want to impress. Yeah. And for some reason, that show was a little hard for me. I was like, I'm a little nervous. But once I got past a certain thing, I'm fine, you know. But no, this show for me has been fun because I've never done a one-person show. I've always worked with other people. So you always have that security blanket of other actors being out there with you, and you're in it together. This was tough because, like you said, I would go out on stage, I'd sing the opening number, and then it would hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my God. I'm standing in front of these people looking at me for another hour and 15 minutes, and it's just me, and oh my God, I've got to entertain these people and make them laugh. And it can be really overwhelming. Well, for somebody who hasn't done it very much. So I'm really getting into it now, because it's like, okay, I'm gaining confidence with every show.
You have the security usually, like you said, with someone else on stage, or you're working with someone and it's working. But what you work with in this show is wild cards. They're all wild. You have no idea if you're going to connect with someone. And when you do, it's good. And when they really go along with it, it's really fun for the audience. And when stuff like that happens, if you just go with it, and have fun with it. So
it's all the improv training I've had through my life. Like, just listen to what's happening and have fun.
You are right on it. I mean, you really are right on it. The quips, everything. It's enjoyable. I don't know how you do it. I don't understand how you can do it for as long, but I was like, oh my God, he's got all these rapid fire things. So for everyone watching and listening, go ahead and give me the promo. Tell us.
Dirty Show. Yeah, you can see it. It's at my husband's art gallery, which is south of the airport. It's a new arts district. It's on Sunny Dunes, and it's in the parking lot. And we've moved the show to Sundays at 2 p.m. because the weather at night is going to get chilly. So I wanted to have people not be cold. And I didn't want to move it indoors because I feel like people are still uncomfortable with
Oh,
COVID.
yeah.
With theater, as far as theater goes inside.
Yeah.
So it's on Sundays at 2, and we got this big overhang that we're putting up, so it's in shade, and we're doing Bloody Marys and mimosas, bottomless Bloody Marys and mimosas, $25, and you get my dirty show and all the booze and fun. Yeah.
How many have you done?
I've done 4, and my next one is tomorrow. Well, I know this is going to air for a while. So, but yeah, so basically I'm doing Sundays now, hopefully from now on for a while.
Now, are you in competition with all the Barracks and Oscars and all that stuff?
Well, actually, I sandwiched it in, I think. I put my show at 2. So I think you can do it all.
Yeah.
You can go to
Yeah.
brunch, then you can go to the show, and then you can go to the Barracks.
Well,
or Oscar.
Everybody, seriously, take time to go see it. And if you've seen it, go see it again, because every show is different. You're playing with a different set of characters, as it was.
Yeah.
And so, this is taking place, you said, and that's at Joe's studio.
Joe's Art Gallery. Deetle is his last name, Deetle Art, and it's 4629 Sunny Dunes.
Yeah. And Joe did one of my chats last year, or even maybe the year before. It's been a while. So his chat is also available on my YouTube station. That's KMC.
Yes, he's a very talented painter, artist.
Love.
Today now too. Oh, and you can get tickets to my show at eventbrite.com.
Eventbrite. All right, and then you said it's $25.
Yeah, $25.
And so right
bottomless booze. You can't beat that.
No, you can't. But so the show is only on Sundays, correct?
Only on Sundays at 2. Yeah.
And do you get good air traffic during that time?
You know, we're going to find out.
Okay.
I haven't done a Sunday show yet. Tomorrow's going to be interesting.
Tomorrow's your kind of journey.
Yeah, I have a feeling there might be a little more air traffic, but it makes me laugh in the show when I refer to it. So it's like, oh, here comes another plane. Okay, whatever.
Hysterical. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but definitely go and see it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh no, I really, after the show, I'm like, oh my God, why have I not done this? And now was a perfect time, I thought, to do it. And so everyone, please just, go out to YouTube, look up Ben's. Now you got to be careful when you put that in. You can get some other videos. I noticed it. I was like, oh no, that's not the one I want. But all of Ben's stuff, I just think I think it's great. Congratulations on all the stuff that you have done, and continued success. And I really hope this goes for you. And you could do this show for a while elsewhere,
That's what I'm hoping, is that I can maybe take it on the road. Yeah. I'll have to change it a bit because it's very Palm Springs specific.
Yeah.
But I think I can alter it to make it more universal to other cities.
So do you love being in Palm Springs?
I do. Yeah, and I sing about it in the show even.
I guess you do. Oh my God.
Which seems to be touching for people, which I actually was really happy about, because I tend to shy away from heartfelt moments. And I kind of embraced it and said, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do, because I think at first people are waiting for a punchline, and then they realize, oh wow, he's singing a really nice
serious
song.
Yeah.
It's making me kind of sad or tearful. And it works pretty well. So I hopefully I'll get to do it other places as well.
Well, that would be great. Well, thank you for being in Palm Springs. I hope you stay here forever and do all the wonderful things that you do. And if you're ever in need of another bear, I'm here.
I love it. And good best of luck. Thanks for having me on your show. And I wish you all the best with your show.
Thank you so much. I just love people to come and hear who I find interesting here in Palm Springs, and tell them to get to know a little bit more about you. Like I learned a little bit more about you than I already did know. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate your time today. So everyone, that's my friend Ben. I hope everybody has a great day. Tune in next time. See you guys.
Thank you.